All right, bang. Today's Wednesday. It's March 12th. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. Before we get going here, I want to talk about these beautiful peaches, ghosts that we have on the desk here. It's peaches. It's not just peach.
More than one peach is great.
Yes, exactly. It's got the nice basketball ripple on here.
Try to have that slip out of your hand. You can't.
No, you can't.
It's got grip. Is this the first ever drink with grip?
No, because I'm also drinking a Swedish fish one right now because it was colder, and it has scales for the fish.
Wow.
But I love attention to detail by Ghost.
Dude, the looks of the can were already good enough, and then they have to add the texture.
Yes.
I don't
Show
know
some
what
mercy.
what a textured label costs, but my God, every can should have it.
It has to be worth it.
It's worth every penny. So peaches, it's their new flavor. It's for a limited time because it's basketball inspired, and Ghost is the official entertainment partner of the inaugural College Basketball Crown, a brand new postseason basketball tournament in Las Vegas from March 31st to April 6th. That should be great.
It should be great. Here's my problem.
What?
We talked about this the other day too. This is my favorite flavor.
Okay.
So
We just got to hoard you some.
I know they've done this before where they take certain flavors and make them permanent. They trial them. They do a little test balloon. And then they're like, you know what? That was fantastic. We're just going to make it a permanent flavor. People at Ghost, make this. Do me one solid.
Yeah. And if not, listen.
You all right?
I got a little shiver.
It was the fear of that peach going away.
Gave me goosebumps, that
Yeah.
speech of yours.
And if not, you can find peaches nationwide at Albertsons, Jewel Osco, Circle K, 7-Eleven, and more. Go check it out. It's a great flavor. All right. How's everybody doing? Free swim. Back in the studio. We're gone last week. We missed Danny.
I missed you guys too.
Yeah, probably not, but it's
I
okay. I feel great, for one, because I was sick, I think, 3 weeks ago.
You gave it to me.
I definitely gave it to you.
I told you guys stop kissing.
Yes.
Don't tell us what to do.
Yes. And I was battling this. It wasn't an ear infection. It wasn't an earache. It was just a clogged ear. It was just a plugged up ear. It had a cork in it.
What do you got in there?
Rocks?
I don't know. It would happen to me, and I'd wake up, and it'd be worse, and then some days it would go away, and then it would always come back. It was just it never went away. It was like Michael Myers. It was just constantly on my doorstep, ready to stab me. And then finally, I think it was Sunday night. I had a Q-tip, and I was trying to get it out, shoved it all the way in. Yesterday, I had absolutely no hearing in my left ear. And hey, I legit sympathize with people. I feel like there's a lot of people that can't hear out of one ear. I feel like right?
I know a girl who was having an ear problem, went to a doctor, and they permanently damaged.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. And I'm like, did you sue him? She's like, no.
But regardless, I want those people to feel seen because that sucks.
I want him to be heard.
Yes, I want them to be heard. Yes, because that fucking sucks. Just having one ear, I was miserable. Like everything, I was talking to Stephen Shea. He was talking about Stephen's kind of a quiet talker, and I would have to creep towards him with my right ear, like I was getting pulled by a current.
This is there. I know you're not a Seinfeld guy, but there is a Seinfeld episode about this.
Is there?
George is dating this girl who's completely deaf in one ear, and so he sprints to a side of the couch because that's like his good side to make a move, and she's like, no, we have to switch because I can't hear out of this ear, and he's like, I have to go lefty on everything. I can't do it.
And he says, I love you, right? And she doesn't say it back, and he doesn't know whether it's because she didn't hear him or not. So how do they cure your ear?
So then I was like, listen, I can't live like this anymore. Like I can't function. It sucked, like I said. So that's why I sympathize with the people who could only hear out of one ear. So I knew as a kid I had it done where you get to go to the doctor and they shoot it out. Have you ever done that?
No.
So you're battling this now?
Yeah, I can't tell if it's like a pressure, because I did see a report somewhere that we had, I don't really know weather systems, but it was like the low pressure, and low pressures are associated with hurricane. We had like hurricane level. We came from Arizona, which was higher altitude. And we landed in Chicago, which had hurricane level low pressure system going on. So it was like it exasperated whatever feelings you were having. Like everybody was having some ear problems.
Yeah.
And then mine was already an issue. And it's still like my right ear. So between us, we have two good ears.
Yeah. But so I went to immediate care. And I felt like a fucking asshole being there for an ear clog. And I was like, hey, like, I got something in there. I know you just got, they take a spray bottle with like a point on it, and it's like solution and like water, and they just flush it out.
How much came out?
Like a turkey baster.
Oh, you want to see the picture?
It's disgusting. I've got.
Is it like the wonton dons situation?
Oh yeah, an absolute rock of wax just fucking dropped into the pan, and it was just relief.
Were you like, what is that, Wizard of Oz, where she sees in color for the first time?
Yeah, it was. It was honestly whatever that bill's gonna be, it was worth it. And I asked her, I was like, hey, I'm sorry for coming in for this. I was like,
but it's an emergency.
She's like, I'm like, do a lot of people come in for this? And she's like, you're the third person today.
Oh.
Today. So it's apparently pretty common.
Maybe I'll give it a shot if it's still around by Friday.
Yeah.
The ear cleaning is one of the best sensations no one talks about. I used to go into the Walgreens care completely fine. I'm like, yeah, almost treat it like a spa day. Like I could get my ears cleaned out today. Then they'd be like, you got nothing in there. I'm like, I'm almost positive I do, but fine. And I just pull the Grandpa Simpson, walk in and out of Walgreens immediate care for no reason.
Yeah, like I have naturally waxy ears too, unfortunately. I know, not great, but it's just true. And I'm like, you can't do anything because I know you're not supposed to use Q-tips. And a candle mechanism, I don't know if that works.
I feel like the wax is like deep down. That's why. Like a Q-tip can't reach it.
Maybe.
This is one of those things where I wonder what they did in like the 1700s.
Yeah, I don't know.
What were they doing? A guy like you just walking around with like a shit ton of disgusting wax in your ear?
I don't know.
They didn't have Q-tips back then.
Yeah, Helen Keller wasn't deaf. She just needed her fucking ears cleaned.
Maybe. For real though, dude.
Yeah. It's a life-changing procedure.
It is.
I'll go as far.
How long did it take?
Oh,
seconds.
Oh, I'm getting this done.
Yeah, you should definitely do it.
Yeah. They'll often be like, you can go in there for strep and be like, hey, you want your ears cleaned while you're here? Like, please.
Yeah.
No one, a doctor has never offered that to me.
Really?
But I went to the doctor last December just to get all like my, blood work, hormones, all that kind of shit. And then, but that was the first time I had been in a doctor's office in over a decade. So maybe I should just go and get the full.
It's oddly satisfying.
I don't even think it sounds odd.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's not odd, but it's oddly satisfying to see the rock come out of your ear, though.
It's almost one of those things, like the more we talk about it, it's like you should treat it like you're getting a haircut. You know,
like
you get your haircut every 6
out.
weeks or whatever, you get cleaned up, feeling good.
Yeah.
And you should do the same. Like our guy Lance, he was a shaggy dog in Arizona. Look at him now; he looks like $1 million.
Yeah, like a teeth cleaning.
Yeah.
So
you're
ear
right.
Cleaning.
But I asked her, I was like, "Is there any options here?" Like, I feel like I'm just like, there's nothing for me to do. Apparently, there's some drop you could put in your ears.
Yeah,
and it just like kind of helps it all fall out. It's just gonna fall out at some, but like that doesn't sound like a great solution either.
Doing that at night before you go to bed, you wake up, your pillow's just like a fucking wax.
Yeah, I'm gonna be talking to Pete Crow Armstrong, and I'm just gonna have earwax falling out. Like that's not a good solution.
Yeah.
Is it weird we don't go to like ear doctors as much as we go to the dentist? Like, at least a yearly checkup. Get a yearly cleaning should be mandatory for your ears.
Yeah, I think ear, nose, and throat. You know, the ENT.
I feel like you don't go to them unless there's a problem. But like dentists, you have to go for checkups.
And ENT is a specialist.
Yeah.
Like, there's usually a barrier to entry to see one of those.
Yeah,
which is also kind of fucked. I'm having ear problems. Why do I have to see my primary first?
I also feel like those are three big parts that should have like separate doctors: ear, nose, and throat.
They're all connected.
They're all linked.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, I know that, but I feel like
you know, when you get that booger through the mouth.
But like my nose has enough problems to where like it could have its own doctor.
Yeah.
Ear and like, and I think everyone's does. Mine's always running. You can get clogged, deviated septum. Then they just lump in ear and throat with that.
Yeah.
I feel like nose needs its own day.
We've talked about my urologist buddy on this show and the old Sirius show. We used to call him every once in a while for dick questions. My other best friend from prep school is an ENT who's now like a surgeon at Mass General, does like cranium surgeries and teaches at Harvard.
Oh,
so
wow.
This is like the running joke where it's like, those are my two best friends. We were both on the hockey team, but we had every class together. We got similar grades. Like they were like my peers in every sense.
Yeah.
Turns out they're a lot smarter than me.
Yeah.
A lot smarter.
Yeah,
than
you're
me.
just eating skirt steak at an AirBNB with White Sox Dave.
I don't know if I would trade lives with them, but Yeah, but they were like, I'm like, how did you guys get so smart? They're like, we were always this smart. I was like, oh.
Just, speaking of White Sox, Dave, I feel like we haven't done a ton of mentioning him in the past few weeks, but
Past 15 minutes.
yeah, but that the stretch on Monday, if you didn't listen to it, we broke down Bears free agency, a bunch of other stuff. Just an all-time White Sox Dave. All-time White Sox Dave, Danny.
Do tell.
He just he told me, because he wasn't on the office draft, if you guys listen to that one, and he's like, and Monday before the stretch when we were driving to the office, he's like, I watched first season. I was like, oh no shit, what'd you think? Like this and that. He's like, oh, it's good. Like Michael Scott's kind of an asshole. I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm like, well, how do you feel that people compare you to Michael Scott? Because I think all three of us will tell you there are similarities.
Yeah, he's evil Michael Scott.
Yeah, genuinely, there is a lot of similarities. And he's like, Michael Scott, I've never got compared to him. He's like, I've got compared to Larry David.
That's the most Michael Scott thing he could have said.
Exactly. And then in the moment, I was driving home, and I'm like, that really was.
Yeah. Sometimes people compare me to Michael Jordan.
But I do think there are some, because Larry David has, like, one of the things he gets called is that he's a social assassin, where he has no decorum, where he'll just say what's ever on his mind.
But Larry David's right.
That's the part.
The opposite.
Yeah.
And isn't Larry David's pretty observant, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Dave's very
I would
opposite.
also say Larry David is self-aware. Like, he knows, he calls himself the social assassin. He just doesn't give a fuck. White Sox Dave will just say things that are out of pocket, and you're like, and he's like, what? You know?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Also, like, me and you have both called him Michael Scott to his face multiple times for him to be like, no one's ever called me that.
Yeah.
Not observant. That's not even observant. Just not listening.
It was just
Got to
great.
get the wax out of his ears.
A lot of people say I remind them of Larry David. Like, it was just so, like, it was so perfectly Michael Scott.
Yeah.
I do got to say, though, I rarely say this, but I left Arizona, and I was like, you know what? I think I was a little too hard on Dave. He was actually pretty good that trip.
Of course he was.
He's
He's a good guy to
I
travel
wouldn't say,
with.
of course.
No,
but-
he's always good to travel with.
But no, my point was like my point. Listen to my point,
Okay.
okay? Because you're like, what do you mean? What do you like? The guy who cooks, because Dave would cook the skirt steak a couple times, and you're like, and then he did all the dishes too, and you're like, what do you mean? I think that's wrong. Like, if he cooked, everyone else should do the dishes. My point was, if he uses every dish because doesn't really ask, then I think it should be kind of on him to clean too.
I think this is just an unspoken rule of society.
Yeah, but
Where it's like, if you're because you ate some of the food. You did not eat that breakfast, which was spectacular.
Sure.
But you had the skirt steak tacos.
go.
But so if you are enjoying the food and you're like, well, I didn't ask for it, it's tough shit. There's a division of labor.
Definitely. That's not what I'm saying. My point is, a lot of stuff that like the eggs he was making for himself in the morning. That was for him. He wasn't making it for anyone else.
You don't have to clean that.
Okay. All right. That's
Yeah.
what I was asking.
Correct.
Okay.
And I don't think he would say that either.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were making it
No.
sound like.
I was talking specifically, it was that night where he
Fair.
the skirt
Totally-
steak tacos.
totally
That's
on
when
your
you
side.
complained.
Totally understood.
And I was like, what are you talking about?
No.
Yeah.
I was talking more about his breakfast behavior.
Yeah. but I will say, he is the one who did the majority of the cleaning there too.
He did. And that's what I said.
Swept the
And
floor.
that's what I
like,
said.
Yeah.
I started this off with that. I was too hard on him.
Yeah.
I was too hard on him.
I think you're.
And I rarely feel that way about him.
I think.
my interaction.
Brave
with
of
him.
I think I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing the Dave behaviors.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're just like this fucking guy. And you're like, you just look at the total picture. I'm like, no, he's good in this area and that area and this other area. He drives me fucking crazy.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
And I was listening to it was Tom Segura who does the podcast, The Two Bears with Bert Kreischer. And Dave in some ways is like our Bert Kreischer. He's like a ridiculous person.
Yeah.
And
He never takes his shirt off when I ask him.
but Tom Segura, they were asking like, how do you deal with this? And he's just like, I genuinely enjoy him. And that's kind of how I feel about Dave. Like, Dave, unintentionally or intentionally, he just makes me laugh. Like, I've just always kind of enjoyed him. And there are times where it's like I get like fatigue about certain elements of him where I'm like, I used to hang out with him socially a lot more before we went full time. Once we went full time, I see him every single day, and I have to work with him. I'm like,
you're good.
Yeah, I don't need the social element as much, but I do like. He's just a guy that I enjoy. I enjoy Dave. Like he's a ridiculous person. I've always liked ridiculous people.
Happy for you.
Yeah.
You had something on Airbnbs?
Oh yeah. So my buddy is booking a place in Texas for a bachelor party that we're going to, and obviously got to all fly there and everything. And the Airbnb guy was like, you know what? You spent this amount of money. I'm going to make you an offer, an extra 2 nights for free. And we're like, what the fuck? Obviously, we're not going to change our flight, stay another 2 nights, not to mention it's a Tuesday and Wednesday. Isn't that a ridiculous offer knowing that no one's going to ever accept that?
He's probably review fishing.
Yeah,
right?
but then I was kind of like, well, maybe you could turn that into us getting 1 free night instead of 2 extra free nights so that one of our nights there is free.
You want to barter?
No.
It's just the bonus nights are free.
Yeah.
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 And do you think he would still do that if someone was, say, like only driving a half hour up to that Airbnb, knowing that they would actually accept that?
I think he's review fishing.
Is review fishing a thing?
Maybe not, but I know it does help them a lot.
It's like a non-invitation though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still like someone might toss in the review. He was so nice and accommodating. He also even offered us 2 free nights.
So this is where my brain goes like, I'm more on Danny's side, where it actually makes me mad because all he's doing is giving me an extra communication to respond to, knowing full well that I can't. Like that actually, like I don't want to talk to you any more than I have to.
Yeah, it's almost maddening how obvious it was that it was review fishing.
Yeah, I think it means a lot, those reviews to them, if that's what you're asking.
I suppose. Yeah.
Is
Airbnb back? Because I feel like it was the rage like 10 years ago, 2016, 2017. Then it just kind of got shitty and it'd be like, well, your stay is it's $200 a night, but at the end it's a $600 cleaning fee, and the places never were that great. And then people are like, fuck it, I'm going to hotels.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. I think Airbnb is here to stay a while for bachelorette parties. I think if you are just like going on a trip with a girlfriend or even family, it's hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, they changed the game on bachelor and bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
Who really wants it's so much better? What would you do during the day at a hotel? You just have a whole block of you in the hotel rooms and like, oh, let's just go in Danny's room for like a couple hours.
Yeah, I guess.
Or now Airbnb, you have your own yard, your own kitchen.
Or you just start at the bars at like noon.
Right.
Yeah.
You stay out till however long, you know?
Yeah.
Or you go to the hotel pool. But yeah, I would say, yeah, for family stuff even as well.
Yeah, because you do that in the summer, right?
Yeah. But that's why, speaking of review fishing, I was between 2 houses, and one I thought objectively looked better in the pictures. But as soon as I sent in the group chat, my dad's like, says it's dirty. Don't pick that one. Pick the other one. I was like, you're right. Like a dirty review, like you're out.
You're out.
Yeah.
You're out.
Was it multiple confirmations that it was dirty? Sometimes parents give one comment.
It was multiple, yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's why we ruled it out.
Fair.
But yeah, I think that guy was review fishing. And back to White Sox, Dave. My point was
Did he get too many compliments?
No. I was thinking back about that conversation during that conversation. So sorry, Danny.
It's all right.
But he said, but at one point when he brought, I did all the cooking and the cleaning. So he was looking for like look what I did. So that's why I was like, dude, come on. Like you wanted to do this. I would have been fucking fine.
Yeah, it wasn't genuine. He was just looking to get that over.
Like that one time he did. That's why I was like, dude, you fucking wanted to do this, and that's why I was giving him shit about it. And that's why he was grandstanding about it when it was.
But how did we get to that comment? It wasn't out of nowhere. It was part of a discussion.
It's the same reason. Till this day, Dave, like we're at a bar, he offers me a shot. I'm like, no, because like some way, somehow a week from now, we're going to get in an argument and be like, I paid $3 for that shot for you. It's not even worth it.
Hey,
there is
Danny. Hey, Chief, that's a fact.
He does do that. It is a character flaw. I will say that. Either do the nice deed or not.
Well,
but if you were pushing, I feel like this is where I wish I had a memory as good as yours, because I do remember this interaction.
This was water bottle gate.
Oh, back in the day?
Yeah, Milwaukee. Oh no, sorry. You're saying
this past
one. Yeah.
I can't remember because I don't think he just brought it up out of nowhere. I thought it was like there was an argument of some kind. He was like, "Well, I did all the."
I'm not totally sure, but I know he brought it up at saying that.
Dude, the water bottle gate was insane.
That
was insane.
If people don't remember water bottle gate, but we stayed in an Airbnb. We went to a Marquette bar for a Marquette Big East game, and there was no water at the pool. We didn't have cups or something like that. Like we didn't have water bottles. We didn't go shopping.
It was a far commute to like the closest convenience store. Water bottles were scarce, and we didn't know if we should really trust the tap water.
And our old producer Tom Lay he bought a big water bottle from the 7-Eleven, and when he came downstairs to go grab it, his water bottle was filled with dipspit, and there was just 2 cups filled with water.
Yeah. Dave couldn't find any other possible spitter.
And he thought there was nothing wrong with that. And then he proceeded to throw it in Tom's face that he paid for his meal the day before.
Right.
That doesn't play.
I know.
But that is, Dave always makes the joke of how you will throw the tennis ball down the hall and try to get him to chase it.
Yeah.
That's his version of that. Where he's like,
yeah, but it just doesn't make sense. You can't insist 3 times on paying and then put it in someone's face.
I'm not saying he executes it well. I said it was absurd that he did that, but it's like, what is this? There's no good deed goes unpunished. It's like no good deed with Dave goes unmentioned. Yes. He needs the credit, and it's not
getting mad.
It's not just a good deed for good deed's sake. It's good deed so he can throw it in your face,
which makes it not a good deed.
Yes,
exactly. Well, your thoughts?
I just gave. That part is true. And nobody's perfect.
Off the leash question. On the leash or off the leash, putting change in a tip jar.
I don't even understand the question.
So
why would that ever be bad?
So if you went to a coffee shop,
mm-hmm.
you paid for your coffee, it was $4.85.
Yeah,
you give them a 5,
mm-hmm.
and you throw 15 cents in there.
Okay,
is that okay? That's very clearly not a tip. It's I don't want to walk away with
a donation.
Walk around with a dime and a nickel.
Yeah, money is money. Count your pennies. That's what my Nan always used to say. So I
could see your argument of like it not being maybe genuine. You're not like, oh, this person did a great job. They deserve this. It's more just like, yeah, I don't want this in my pocket. But I will say places like that, end of the day, they take all that change and they trade it in the register for dollar bills.
It adds up.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Obviously, I pay with cash a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I do that, I'll usually throw like an extra $1 too to make it not that way, because in my head I feel like they roll their eyes at me if I just do like a dime and 3 pennies,
I kind of always look at it as like a win-win for me and them.
What'd you order?
Walk around with this change and they get a little more to their pot.
Yeah.
What'd you order at this coffee shop?
Just a coffee.
Drip coffee?
Yeah. It wasn't like
if they're doing some kind of steam milk, where it's multiple.
But it could be anywhere. It could be a fucking ice cream parlor. It could be you name it, and it like any place where there's a jar of.
Yeah, this probably happens to you more, but it's like normally you pay with a card, and it's like, do you want to do 15, 20, or 25?
Yeah,
yeah. There is an argument for like just throwing like a penny in there is downright disrespectful.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Not a wishing well.
That's where I always try to throw like $1 because I just want to take my change, because I know it's just going to rattle around my car. It's going to fall out of my pocket when I take my phone out, and then someone at the next store is going to be like, "Oh, sir, you dropped your dime," and it's like, I don't care.
There's a difference between tipping situations. Like if it's coffee and it's just a drip coffee and they went like this, I'm fine with like a light tip if I only have the 5 for the coffee that's 4 and change.
What about like a Dairy Queen?
You tip a Dairy Queen?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever tipped at a Dairy Queen.
But let's not call this.
But like a restaurant situation is different to me. That's my point.
Okay. But let's not call this about where you should tip or shouldn't tip.
Okay.
I think he's asking like, does Dairy Queen even have a tip jar?
Yeah.
But
everyone has a tip jar now.
I would say you have to have at least like 3 coins total, or else it looks bad. Like you got to hear a couple like plunks in the tip jar. You can't just be doing like 1 nickel and 1 penny. It should be like, a quarter dime penny. I'm feeling okay about that. Yeah. That's actually going towards potentially creating $1 by the end of their shift with all the other change they got in there.
And this is where I feel bad because I haven't worked at a job like this where I'm working the counter and I hear those clanks. You worked somewhere, right, Lance?
Yeah, I worked at a coffee shop, we'll say. And I guess what I would say in this conversation is all change is good change. Everything counts towards your tip. Okay. But if you're going to tip like 8 cents, don't be like, here, this one's for you guys, all this stuff. Yeah. Don't patronize me. If you just don't want your change, you want to give it to me, great. But if you're tipping like 8 cents, don't try to make it seem like you left a tip because then you're going to roll your eyes. If somebody just leaves change, just keep it moving. Let's go. But if you're going to patronize me, then fuck
exactly.
You.
This is another thing where I feel like I am a good tipper and I try to be a good tipper. But in my head, like all my tips even out, even though it's different people and different places. Where it's like the coffee one, it's like you get what you get. Where at a restaurant, I'll go like above and beyond. Mm-hmm. But it's like that's not fair to the coffee person. But in my head, that's how I operate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's also like you probably wouldn't even. It's so normal. Like you have to tip the waitress. You don't have to tip a barista.
Yeah.
That's kind of just extra in my head. I'm giving you 35 cents. Normally I'd be giving you 0, but waitress.
What do you think if you're a person that's working at a counter like this and they have a tip jar and they also have that, hey, this kid has cancer, we're collecting change for this kid. If you're sitting behind the counter, you're like, fuck that kid.
Throw it in our bin.
I guess so I worked at a hardware store and then I found out that they were doing something where they were collecting money for a children's hospital. But in reality, it was like we were told it was a way for them to dodge taxes. They've already made their donation and everything else is just to recoup what they donated.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, well then screw that. There's no point in that. They already donated. They're just recouping their money. So
places do have it figured out with like, this only applies to using a credit card, but just round up for charity.
Yeah.
Like that's great. That should have been around forever.
Yeah.
Jewel does that.
Yeah. So dispensaries do that.
Round up is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Why didn't we think of it sooner?
Exactly. Yeah. It really is.
I hope it's one of those charities where the full amount goes though.
Oh, there's a ton of racket charities.
It drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah. But
I have another thing that bothers me.
I would say, off the leash to act like you're changing this employee's life with your 22-cent tip. But I think it's completely on the leash
to just throw your loose change into the tip jar.
Yeah, without acting like you're saving that employee.
All right, good to know because I'll sometimes do that. But like I said, I always try to add an extra $1 because I'm always like insecure about just throwing a couple dimes in or a quarter.
Yeah. But if you think about it, if you're just getting a coffee, all right, and your if your coffee, let's say, is $4, your drip coffee, and it's digital, and they give you the option to tip 18 cents. Is it that big of a difference? Or 18%. So whatever 18%, you're talking like another 72 cents or something like that as a difference between what you gave and what like the minimum. So it's
that's true, but it's also like if you go to a say if you went to like a diner and your bill was like $12 and the tip is, I don't know, whatever 20% comes out to like a couple bucks.
Yeah,
you're usually giving more because you're like,
I'm definitely going.
Yeah, you feel bad giving like just leaving $1.50, $2.
Let me ask this: you're at a restaurant, you got a waitress dine-in sitting down, and she gives you your change back. You pay with cash, and you're obviously going to tip her the 20% or whatever. But then, are you also going to leave in the 17 cents? The nickel, dime, and 2 pennies.
That's kind of the similar situation.
A couple dollars, whatever, plus change.
This past weekend, I had actual cash for the first time in a while because we went to the casino in Arizona. I went out to a restaurant for lunch. I'm like, I don't need change.
Right.
So I'll just give it ends up being like technically probably an over tip. But it's just like, I don't want you to come back and then I'm going to comb through and be like, actually give me $6 extra. So now you're like, just fucking
keep it. Yeah. But time out though. We got to go back to Lance. Are people really dropping a nickel and saying this one's for you?
It happens every once in a while where somebody will have extra change and they maybe weren't expecting it. It's typically like a Karen-esque individual that gets it and be like, here, this one's for you. And it's happened. And you kind of I worked at like the drive-through portion. So it's just like, keep it moving. I couldn't care. But definitely when that happens, you kind of like roll your eyes a little bit. And you're like, all right, but then you just move on to the next one. But that'll happen.
Okay.
I think they should be banned. If you're going to be a patronizing asshole to the staff, then that establishment should ban you.
Fair.
What was the, you were about to bring something up.
I don't know if this is the place for it necessarily. I'll say it real quick, but it's like,
God, what could this be?
It's like directionally, I feel like everything about the country is about money, and it's like where Walmart is one of the biggest companies in America, biggest retailers in the world. All of their founders are like, the family's worth tens of billions of dollars. They have a significant portion of their employees are have to use SNAP, like food stamp benefits. So it's like the rest of the country is funding their workforce through taxes because they don't pay them enough to keep them off of SNAP. That drives me fucking crazy. Pay your employees. Pay your employees more. You have the money. You're one of the biggest, you're the richest people, well, some of the richest people in the world. You have, you're a huge retail operation. You could pay your employees more and then not have the rest of the country be funding where you're making up. Like, the country is subsidizing Walmart. That drives me crazy.
Did they get called out publicly for that enough?
I don't think so.
They used to get smoked for being non-union. I remember that, at least.
Yeah, I don't
know if they're union now, but I know.
I don't think so.
No, I know they used to get.
But that's the type of thing that drives me crazy. What? So you can pay your shareholders a better dividend because you're fucking your employees? Like, just pay people a living wage so you don't have to be on fucking SNAP.
What's their rationale on that, on why they don't?
It's probably so their profit margins are higher.
Dude,
but they openly say that, I'm saying, that's how they defend it.
I don't think that they care to defend it. This is just this is what the market, like, the people will work this job, but I don't think they would work the job if they didn't have the SNAP benefits to make up the difference of what they're not being paid.
Yeah, but that aside, it's so fucking crazy that there's just not a perfect system for anything.
What do you mean?
Like, a lot of those people probably prefer to live under that margin so they can get that too.
I find that hard to believe.
I mean,
I don't think people were like, I would like to be. I don't think most people would like to be on a form of welfare. I don't believe
not
that.
Like to be on it, but for instance, maybe that was a bad example, so I take that back. But for instance, my grad assistantship was with a job placement thing where I would help kids with disabilities get jobs.
Okay,
and sometimes kids would drop out of the program and not take the job because it was more beneficial from them to get money from wherever,
right,
rather than work at the grocery store.
I hear that, and that goes back to the same point. Would they rather, and I'm making up numbers, but if you could live, if they're paying $12 an hour for you to be a bagger, and it's like, well, it's not worth it to me, I get more than that on benefits from the government to stay home, or would you rather work, have a place to go, have some sense of value, but you're getting $18 an hour, and that might be a better system, where it's like that person has a job, they have a place to go, they feel good about themselves, as opposed to sitting home and just waiting for a government check. Like, you can work, but you're actually making enough money to live.
Yeah. I unfortunately think you're disregarding people that would rather just sit home and not do anything. I think those people do exist.
Easy money.
I think, I don't know.
And it's easier. It's more like that's
I
what I'm saying,
think it's different maybe with people with disabilities. Like, I don't know. But I think most people I
don't fault that kid.
I don't fault
who was
him
like,
either.
hey, I don't want to.
No, of course not. But that's
Kroger.
that's the system that's set up. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I'd rather be charged 1% more per item that I buy, and then you pay your workers a living wage instead of just being like, well, we had great margins, so we're paying out a dividend, or our stock goes up, or so it's like you have everything set up for like the elites as opposed to
my point was people. It would have to really be a certain amount of money to kick you out of that bracket where it's like, oh fuck, now I got to pay for my own things.
Yeah, but I think I don't know the numbers on a Kroger necessarily.
Same.
But the Walmart one to me makes more sense because it's like they have the money, like they have money. So that it just rubs me the wrong way because that
Well, it should.
It does.
It
yeah.
should. I mean,
yeah. That was that. I don't know how that popped in my head from tipping and stuff, but
Let it all out. Let it all out.
Bothers me.
Dan, does it bother you?
I said what I had to say. Should we get a disabled person's perspective on it? Dave. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, that was even
horrible.
aside. That was just people who
Different Dave.
just work there. You think coffee's like it's just back to coffee.
Transitioning.
Yeah, what?
You think we've gone too far
With what?
with coffee?
How so?
Like how much it is and how many different
Like
places
splash
there
of
are.
cinnamon whipped cream.
Yeah,
Double chai latte.
Yeah, like I remember that there was that. We're talking internet 1.0 about the guy who would bitch about Starbucks and how he would go to the diner. Remember that guy?
Vaguely,
The
yeah.
big man from Brooklyn, I think his
Something,
name was. Yeah, he's like, I went there. There's Starbucks, and I went to my diner, and he was just like going nuts. That's what I'm wondering. Have we gone too far with coffee? Where have we gone too far in areas? If it's not coffee.
I don't know. I think there's a market for it. People,
Yeah, sure.
People want it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what dictates it.
If it's on the menu, like if, chai latte, cinnamon chai latte, whatever is on the menu, fine. But if you're making like more than 2 modifications to a coffee on the menu, that's too much. You shouldn't be able to do that. You should be able to, you just can order what's on the menu.
Mm-hmm. Because
I really only have drip coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, I have an espresso shot added.
You use those like fucking test tubes and shit though, right? What's that called? Like the where they, like those.
No, I don't know what
you
you're
don't do that. It's like those. It's like the glass.
Test tubes.
Yeah, not test tubes, but it's like the glass.
Are you talking like a pour over?
Yeah, you use that. No. I'm done.
You're talking like that's how I
Like
make
the
coffee.
French roast, like the one, like
no, a French
A
press.
French press.
No,
French press.
I'm anti-fresh.
Oh,
I just have a normal drip coffee maker at home too.
honestly, I thought you'd be a French press guy.
You thought you'd be brewing his own beans by now?
I honestly did.
No, I'm very particular about the coffee that I buy.
You are.
I
Like,
get one brand, but
you're one of the only people I know that's like, I like this coffee. I think this one's not great. I think like you have.
I don't even. I have found a coffee that I like. I found it in 2016. I have not deviated. So there might be other good ones out there, but it's just like I know what I like for this. It hits the same every single time. I get it. I've had it for damn near 10 years now.
Okay. I'll tell you an industry that's you want to talk about Game of Thrones. It's the dessert industry. That shit is crazy. You got to be on your game 24/7, or the next man up is just coming for your head. I'm talking like because remember when Cold Stone was like the top dog?
Yeah, well, you just had Cold Stone.
Yeah,
Yeah, you and Lance in Arizona.
we did.
A trip down memory lane.
Yeah, remember when that was like the Cox Walk?
We had one in the Geneva Commons that opened up, and there was like a line down the block to get in there.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, didn't I?
I don't know.
During the Baskin Robbins combo with Subway.
Yeah.
But whatever. Like I'm telling, like Crumble, like you fucking name it. Milk Bars here in Chicago now, and Levain, and dude, all these places are just in a Royal Rumble for who the hell's gonna get you to go there for dessert.
Yeah, like the standalone dessert places has to be pretty cutthroat now.
Yeah, dude.
There's that one that's been on. It's on Division. It's called like Allays. It's like a French word. They have a neon sign. I think they do like 90% are just macaroons. They've been in business since 1932.
That's the thing, though. You got to have something specific like macaroons or crumble cookies or just Cold Stone ice cream. You got to specialize in one area.
That was one of the funniest parts of that Arizona trip. It was when you brought up this topic in the car, and Colton just goes, I had a bad crumble cookie addiction for a while. He was getting crumble cookies he was getting 4 crumble cookies a night.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's right. I have a friend like that.
He's like,
Yeah.
oh, what's the flavor of the day? I'm going to get that one. He was getting a box of crumble cookies too. I'm like, you might have a weed problem, dude.
Yeah,
It's like 2,000 calories right there.
but they changed the game. Like
I think
like
crumble fucking
that rotating lineup changed the game.
Yeah, it really did.
You know?
Little things like that.
Yeah.
But man, you got to split one crumble cookie 4 ways.
yeah. There's like a dinner plate.
Yeah, for sure. You got like you get like a bite.
You can't be feeling good about yourself after that. That's like 4 Sundays right there.
Yeah, it's alarmingly.
They're too thick too.
Yeah, it's not your jam.
I'm not a crumble guy.
Don't even get me fucking started on macaroons.
I don't really like macaroons.
I actually do, but
But it's a perfect niche. Like, where else are you going to get a macaroon?
No, I get it.
Lane's on Division.
Right.
I get it. I like had to run and get stuff for, I think it was Thanksgiving, and I bought macaroons for like my family, and I just didn't think. I just threw, and I walked up and it was like $150 for a box of like 30. Like, I had no idea macaroons were expensive.
I wouldn't have guessed that either. How many people these days you think are not getting the dessert option at the restaurant they're at and going to a standalone dessert place?
I think a lot. I think a lot of people are, dude. I actually do.
You're leaving your dinner and walking down the street to get dessert?
Oh yeah. It's like, we'll just go to Dairy Queen.
Well, I guess it depends on what your dinner is too, but
and like what's near.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, wouldn't you say a lot of those people are just people who maybe had dinner at home and they're like, fuck it, now let's go to
I think
Crumble.
it's more like that.
Think so?
Yeah.
Fucking Rita's. Have you heard of Rita's yet?
No, what's that?
It's an East Coast thing that's like, it's like wildly.
What kind of?
It's like Italian ice / custard. They're like popping up all over Chicago now.
Custard's one of those words where it sounds gross to me.
Because you think
it rocks though.
What?
Yeah.
It rocks though. That's
I'm sure. I can't remember the last time I had.
Froyo. The dessert game is crazy.
Yeah.
Custard's a big. Well, they have like the scooters. Is that what it's called? There's one on Belmont. That's like a chain custard place.
Yeah.
But I think that might be the next big thing.
Culver's is like a big custard dessert place, right?
Yeah.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I don't really go to Culver's.
I think custard's been here.
Yeah, custard's been around. I found.
But like, so have cookies, and now look, Crumble just kind of in the past couple of years.
I have a dessert at a restaurant that you have to try.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Me particularly?
You particularly.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it was. Have you heard of Sunda?
Mm-hmm.
I have.
So there's 2 locations, and I went to the one in the West Loop over the weekend, and it was like a carrot cake base with a scoop of vanilla, and then it had like caramel like poured over it, but the caramel, and because the ice cream like refroze it, so you had to almost like crack the caramel to get into the ice cream and the carrot cake. I'm not a big dessert guy. It was fucking awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and it was like the table, like 4 people split one.
I like carrot cake.
Yeah, carrot cake, and this is a good carrot cake.
That's what I'd always eat at Maywood Racetrack. Whenever I was fucking losing on horses, I'd get a carrot cake, try to turn it around.
Yeah.
Didn't work a lot.
Never worked.
It was always my excuse to get a carrot cake.
I kind of like the logic though.
Yeah.
Horses like carrot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrot cake.
And I need some cake.
Yeah.
There was something to it, but I suck at betting horses, so it didn't work. All right, we could wrap this up unless anyone has anything else.
I think I got it all off my chest. Just want to apologize again for the Dave joke. Didn't really mean it.
All right, that's it, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow.
That was off the leash.
That was off the leash.
It was a different Dave, though. Guy I went to grade school with.
We'll see you tomorrow. Whiskey / bourbon experts coming on. So
Hey.
Nice.
talk some of that. And tune in. See you then.